I don't know what's become of social media, but it seems as though people on Twitter, specifically some of the major headlines and the news organizations, are having a competition for the world's most stupid and ignorant takes. I don't even understand what is going on right now. I feel like they're all behind a curtain, twiddling their fingers and licking each other's fingernails or the dirt underneath them, and they're conspiring to troll everybody in the world by trying to outdo each other in terms of intense stupidity. I saw this post by MSNBC. The far right's obsession with fitness is going digital. Interesting. I never thought that was ever something I don't even know what to say, to be honest. I don't even know what it is that I'm supposed to say in response to this, but goodness gracious. Their headline, when you click into they must be very desperate for clicks, because either someone is drinking some strange-ass cat piss down there, or they're having that competition that I mentioned, or someone is trying to capsize the organization. I have no idea. Or they really are trying to see how far they can push people, see what they'll believe. And you know what? Some of the people were probably like people who don't like people on the right. I could understand if some of them who have a drop of sense left, why some of them would start to question whether or not it's someone on the right trying on purpose to motivate people on the left to becoming unfit and doing all these things that they know are damaging to people, because this is damaging. The headline reads, "Pandemic fitness trends have gone extreme literally. White supremacists' latest scheme to valorize violence and hypermasculinity has gone digital." Well, you know what? I had no idea that this was a thing, and what you've successfully done now is made everybody aware of it, so now they're going to be curious, and you're going to give these supposedly extremist groups more attention when they probably fall within like the 1% of people in the population in the nation. So that's interesting. But I found it more interesting that they were trying to conflate fitness with far-right extremists. Okay, let's talk about this. This statement suggesting that fitness and trying to be healthy is something that far-right people only have an interest in is so brain dead. It makes me feel as though my brain is withering away just trying to perform the mental gymnastics to even understand the person who wrote this. They need to be fired. Seriously, I don't even know what's going on here. Who's sucking whose spleen? Somebody owes someone some money, because this is wild. You're assigning this very broad characterization just based on politic ideology, which completely discounts everybody else's motivation to wanting to be fit. They're talking about them being obsessed, but what about everybody across the world? What about the people who aren't white or supremacists? They want to be fit. Can you understand why this is problematic? I don't understand. I tried to go deeper into the article to see if I could understand. Maybe they just wrote this headline because they were trying to be edgy or something. It failed, but let's see where they're coming from, because fitness is horrible. Fitness is just problematic. They say it appears, by Cynthia Miller Idris. Girl, you need to go sit down. You need to go, please. You don't like fitness, then do us all a favor and do what you do and sit down. Stay sitting down. Because Jesus Christ. Your mouth is definitely fit, that's for sure. Anyway, it appears the far right has taken advantage of pandemic at-home fitness trends to expand its decade-plus radicalization of physical mixed martial arts, MMA, and combat sports spaces. First of all, I think it's important for us to clarify that the pandemic fitness trends, which we have seen an increase in those in digital workout programs, they're not extreme, not inherently anyway. This was a global response to a situation where traditional workout spaces like gyms and fitness classes became unavailable because of the freaking pandemic. People from all over, every cultural background, size, height, weight, they all decided to do things digitally or at home so that they could stay healthy. As a matter of fact, we have a home gym in our freaking garage. Because first of all, I'm not gonna lie, I mean, it doesn't happen to everyone all the time, but it was annoying a little bit when you're running on the treadmill and someone is either watching your breasts flop up and down or they come over to hit on you. Not everybody does this, but the few times it did happen, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna blame that person, but I understand it's a social setting and it's public. That's where people, I guess, would meet people. Don't feel like huffing and puffing in the middle of when I'm doing cardio to stop and take my headphones off because you want to invite me out to coffee. That's great, but I'm in the middle of working out. I would like not to have that happen while I'm huffing and puffing. So I decided, you know what, let me stay home and work out there. That's why I wanted a home gym in the first place. And also, some of the exercises, some of them stuff was happening. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. That I just, when it happens, I'd like to be in a personal space for it not to happen, because that was new for me and weird. Anyway, yeah, COVID happened and people were like, we can't go to the gym. What are we gonna do? Because people are really into fitness. And it's not just people who are into fitness. What about people who are ill and trying to get better? And as a requirement of them getting into better health, they need to stay fit. And they don't have the time or the venue in which to do that. Sure, if they live in an apartment, you can run up and down the stairs, but that's not always the most accessible thing. It helps a lot of people when you actually have a designated place for you to do that. Also, the machines that are available in gyms, a lot of people can't afford those. It's easier to pay a subscription to a gym membership than to spend or drop $12,000 on a machine, because those are the ones you know are going to last long. So for people who did dancing classes and yoga classes and stuff, you no longer have the ability to go to a class and do this. So, you know, you go to the digital stuff, the people who have these classes online, which is fine. It's bizarre. Linking general digital fitness trends to the activities, though, of white supremacists is very disingenuous. Yeah, it may be true that online platforms can be misused by people, not just white supremacists, but by anybody. Saying that the entirety of the platform of digital fitness is a promotion for violence or hypermasculinity is freaking wild. You would think they would learn to not stigmatize a general trend that has positively impacted the health and well-being of so many different people based on the harmful activities of a specific group. And even the harmful activity they're talking about with a specific group, I don't really understand what they're talking about, because if they're saying, oh, we're into fitness, and most human beings are, like, what is wrong with that? I recently started lifting weights because I want to be stronger, and I am a white supremacist. And the thing is, it's really addicting. Now I understand why my friends who were gym rats, why they were always in the gym, because there is a kind of dopamine fit. Like when you lift and your muscles hurt, because I realize like my muscles are freaking weak, and you start lifting and you're like, ooh, that's painful. Ooh, hamstrings. Ooh, what's this muscle back here I didn't even realize I had? Holy crap. It's like wafy thin muscle, and you don't even realize there's muscle there because all you feel is bone or skin there. Now it's like, dude, there's a whole ass muscle there. That's freaking weird. I have pain in a place I never imagined I would. And it makes you want to go back and do it again. Like after the recovery time, you're like, you know, I gotta work out something else. And you go and you work out your triceps, your biceps, or your obliques, and then you go and you work out something else, your abs, and your chest, and it's like, dude, it's the kind of pain that you feel is amazing. It keeps me wanting to go back, and my body feels hot all the time. Like, it feels so freaking weird, and I love that. Never once did I ever imagine while working out, man, gonna get some good old white supremacism in today. Like, that's just so strange of them to say. For them to say that mixed martial arts and MMA and combat sports is linked with extremism honestly makes me think that their brain is made of pudding, or there's some kind of ulterior motive going on. Physical fitness, MMA, all different types of activities are pursued by diverse people across the globe, regardless of what political leaning they have. They promote physical health, discipline, self-improvement, and I think these headlines of people who are writing these articles understand that by saying this, you're stigmatizing the people who also participate in these activities.
This men's 100 meters. Well, now they are away. Good start by Mason in lane 4, brilliantly, and Rodriguez alongside her in lane 3, and Grimaldi's coming up well as well. It's between Mason and Rodriguez. This is going to be tight. Rodriguez moving up to win it, and she's...
Look at these women. You're going to sit here and tell me because they're physically fit and they're athletes that they're somehow linked with white supremacist extremist groups. Cultural dances and fitness, by the way, people being fit and being normal by default, that's a normal default thing. All these people are white supremacists.
Behind Bo Tally Williams' age-defying transformation, revealing how she manages to look a staggering 5 decades younger than her actual age. So get ready to be inspired. It all started with a package from her ex-husband's mom containing a VCR fitness tape featuring Donna Richardson.
But this girl needs to sit down because she's a white supremacist. How dare she? This take itself, ironically, is an example of radicalization. I don't know what is the obsession with these news organizations trying to keep people fat or unhealthy, but something's not right about that. It's either you're being very obvious that you're trolling, or you understand that there's a select group of people who you know are gullible and stupid that you're trying to keep unhealthy for whatever reason, some kind of social experiment or whatnot. I don't know, because I can't understand. Like, I don't understand. What is the whole purpose of even publishing something like this? By putting out a take like this, as if you live in some bubble, or you probably know more about white supremacists than the average person. Apparently, the person who wrote this is surrounded by them, because I just see your average person. It's not every day you walk and you see one. And I'm not talking about the people that other people call white supremacists just because they say I don't agree with something that you said, and because we just happen to be two different colors, that automatically by default, if the person who is criticizing them is white, makes them a white supremacist. I'm not talking about that, because I've been called that too, and it's funny because that's rich calling me a white supremacist. Just saying. This is a brain dead take. I never usually say stuff like that because I believe that different people have different opinions and you might not agree with everyone's opinions, and that's fine. We can agree to disagree or come to an understanding where the other person's coming from. That's what empathy is about. But this is one of those times where I will say the person who wrote this is brain dead, or they know exactly what they're doing, and so they are radical themselves. And you have to seriously question their motives, and question the motives of the publishers for even putting this out there, unless they're really hurting for clicks and they know people are going to engage with this. And so they're like, you know what, advertisers, people are going to be reading our article just like I did. Just put something out there that's stupid, that you know people are going to get angry about, and have them talking about it. And then if people start doing what it actually promotes, we can capitalize on that, which is hilarious and ironic given the person who is writing this, given their freaking criticism of these radical groups, because they kind of are doing the same thing in another context. Strange, I know. But it's this paragraph for me. Physical fitness has always been central to the far right. In Mein Kampf, Hitler fixated on boxing and jiu-jitsu, believing they could help him create an army of millions whose aggressive spirit and impeccably trained bodies combined with fanatical love of the fatherland would do more for the German nation than any mediocre tactical weapons training, dear God. Wow. Wow, how to even follow up that? The brain's not even dead in this case. The brain just never existed in the first place, did it? So taking isolated historical examples such as this, and Hitler focusing on physical training to imply somehow that there's a correlation between fitness and far-right extremism is very disingenuous. This does not equal, I don't believe I have to even say this. I think the person writing this knows this, unless they're freaking stupid. Why are they writing articles? But it does not equate to the majority of people who pursue physical fitness. Being physical and moving around and being fit, I'm sorry, maybe not now because of everything with sedentary lifestyle and everything being digital. Funny enough, we're talking about digital stuff. It was supposed to be, it was the norm. Most animals, most primates are physically fit. That is a default. That's supposed to be a default for us. Most children, when they're growing up and they're born and you see them in adolescence, they are fit. There is a certain norm for human beings. And when you go outside of that norm, you start to feel sick and disgusting. You start to have health issues. Even though you claim that you feel fine, you do start to have health issues like high blood pressure, diabetes. There's a reason. Heart issues. There's a reason why things like this happen. Let's say you don't have that. Well, I'm healthy. Your skin, your hair, the fact that you cannot go up the stairs without breathing as though you just lifted a freaking rhino over your head.
I'm just a prisoner here doing nothing because of how big I've gotten. And my weight makes it so hard for me to breathe. I have to use oxygen a lot of times just to get the air my body needs. So I know my health is in a really bad place because of that. And it's at the point where I can't even take care of myself or live on my own anymore.
That is a problem. Your body has a way of telling you when something is wrong. It's not being mean to you. It's not someone trying to make fun of you because you're fat. It's the truth.
I have to pay one of my friends to be my caregiver and help me do everything now. Dawn? Morning.
Morning. You ready to get up?
I am. Dawn lives with me and takes care of me. And without her, things would be even worse. Because I can't even get out of bed on my own. That's how bad off my body is now. And then once I'm up, I'm barely even able to go a few feet at one time. My weight's too much for me to move around. And I also have bad lymphedema on my lower body that makes any movement of mine really painful. So I have to do everything right here in the same room, including going to the bathroom. So I have a portable potty chair that's next to my bed. And when I'm done, Dawn has to clean me up. And that's probably the most humiliating part of my day.
Okay. Bucket's ready.
I'm gonna go ahead and stand up and go on over.
Okay.
Bathing me is a very extensive process because of how hard it is to get to all the areas of my body. We wash the lower part of my stomach and underneath it in my bed. But once she's done,
Okay.
she has to use a hairdryer to dry those areas because if any moisture gets caught under a fold, it'll get trapped there and mold causes sores that will get infected. But Dawn also has to rub a zinc oxide cream on me to help prevent sores because without it, the natural chafing I have under my folds can start to break the skin over time.
That's why people who are not in shape want to get in shape. Even when you try to say, oh, self-love, and I love my big fat bonnet. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because people who are secure would not be going around saying, I'm proud to be fat. Anytime you have to be like, I'm proud to be this, I love my this, I love my that, it's copium. I'm sorry, it is. Nobody who feels secure in themselves feels the need to say shit like that. Nobody does. If you're feeling yourself, you just go out there, you take a picture, you do whatever, you walk with your chest held high, you feel good. You being like, I am this, that's what they call affirmations. And you say those because you don't actually feel that way. So you try to say it over and over again to try and convince yourself and lie to yourself that you feel that way. And that's not the case. And the reason why you do that is not because society is working against you. It's because there's a reason you don't feel like that. The reason why society even feels like that in the first place and realizes that that's not the norm is because they recognize the consequences of being such. Just like incest. If everyone goes out there and starts sleeping with their sisters, society is going to have a problem with that. Why? Because after some time, maybe even though initially that happened, as the population boomed, there was more of a higher risk of stagnating the gene pool, and as a result, with the population being so large, there would be a more extreme reaction if suddenly something were to come and wipe out huge swaths of people that have the same genetic material or it's too similar. So naturally, instinctively, people are going to say, maybe not do that. If some people do it, they're free to do what they want to do with their lives, but other people in society is going to look at them strange because it's not the default. At least it hasn't been thousands and thousands of years. So there's a reason why society has certain things in place. And there's a certain law to certain things. If you think that your dog, your vet tells you the dog has heart health problems and it's too fat, and you say, well, fitness is part of the extremist group, and my dog's got to learn to love himself, and I love my dog the way he is, and that your dog dies at age 6 because of a fatty liver or issues, complications with being fat, joint problems and stuff, you abuse your dog. You cause your dog to have an early death. Dogs, every animal I have ever known of, is happiest when they can move freely and breathe. I'm just saying, not being mean. So by this person making this article saying, well, Hitler liked these things, you're in a roundabout way saying that anybody else who takes part in these activities or likes them is on par with this person. Here is why this is dangerous. Let's just say everybody has the common dislike for Mr. Adolf. I didn't even know the stuff about him, but now I know, and I'm like, oh, okay. Thanks for sharing that. Let's say that the young person reads this article. They're highly impressionable. And they see you say, you know what, Adolf believed in MMA. And this young kid, before he even knew this, he wants to train in MMA because he loves the way it sculpts his body. And his sister does this along with him. She loves the way it makes her feel empowered. She's looking at her abs and her shoulders and her biceps. And she's like, yeah, I can beat someone's ass. This is amazing. I feel great. And these young kids read an article like this. And yes, the parents are responsible for teaching them, but then they see you make the comparison and said, well, this man named Adolf, he also fixated on this. And the kids are like, he did? Huh. Maybe he ain't so bad after all. Because kids will do that shit. Now you've successfully made really gullible people give them another reason to probably latch on and lean towards the extremist groups. Now you make them more interested in these supposed extremist groups because anybody who's interested in MMA fighting or jiu-jitsu, especially as young kids, they're going to be curious. And why is this freaking commercial showing me metal balls? Can you not? Like, what the hell? Stupid. Anyway, rude. freaking weirdo. Like, so now these kids are going to fixate on this, and they're going to be highly impressionable, which is probably, quite possibly and plausibly, might so happen to maybe have a chance at creating white supremacists, or you're going to make these kids think that they probably are these too. Even if the kids are culturally or ethnically not white, they're going to start to see, maybe I align more with these ideologies then. Because I like jujitsu and MMA, but now they're telling me we're far right people are doing. That's what they do. So maybe I'm far right too. And if that's the case, I really love jujitsu. It makes me feel great. So I guess I'm far right then. So now I'll look at all the other stuff the far right people have and their crazy radical stuff, and I'll just follow along with that too. Because if you try to take jujitsu from me or physical fitness away from me, then I guess I'm going to identify as far right now. Do you not realize how many people you were pushing into the very radical groups that you so claim to hate? It's very strange. You're not doing anything for your cause. Like, if somebody was in the center, like me, it's like, oh, you see this stuff. I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, there's a few stuff I disagree with on the right. Like, this is some crazy stuff I disagree with. Like, but on the other hand, I could see the left too, and I'm like, dude, when the right says something, I can understand where they're coming from, and their stupidity, the two things, two of the things I disagree with, it really comes off looking stupid, but it doesn't send me like running from the hills. It kind of makes me kind of distance myself a little bit. But then when you see some of the shit like this that the left are saying, you're like, now this makes me want to run all the way back over there, because this is just the next level. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just wild. And a lot of people, I've heard like a lot of people speaking about this and saying, well, I'm a Democrat, I'm on the left, and I like physical fitness, so I guess I'm not on the left as I thought I was. That's odd. And some people will say, well, it's probably a right person writing this article. Is it though? We know what this is. It's very bizarre. Maybe they're doing it to get attention and to get clicks, but I don't think this is right for society to tell people that they're extremists, they're into physical fitness. And you know what? Some people are just owning it. Some people are like, well, guess I'm far right now. I wasn't, but based on what you're saying, that's what I am. So I guess, I'm not giving up my fitness. I like feeling good. I had a stroke, or I was grossly sick and almost died. I got myself back in shape. I'm not giving that up. I'm not going back to that. So here I am now. Is this what they wanted? Like, man, this is crazy. I don't even know what to say about this, to be honest. This is wild. What do you guys think? Do you think this is a troll? Do you think that MSNBC is just trying to get clicks because they're not doing so well? Or do you think it's a red herring? Like, there's something else going on that somebody else might be shedding light on, and they want so badly for the attention to come off that. So they stir up something else they know is just completely outrageous to try and take the attention off the other thing they don't want people to fixate on. Makes you wonder. Anyway.